What's up, everybody? Today we're going to go over the BTK killer. Maybe some of you have heard of him, maybe not. Either way, you're going to find out today. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you already are subscribed and you're coming back, welcome back. Let's go ahead and get into this. So the BTA killer is an acronym of the bind and the torture killer. The real name behind this killer is Dennis Lynn Rader. He would drive down the street. If he would see a woman, he would target her, and his motive was to bind her and torture her. He showed no mercy to anyone. For 3 whole decades, he would taunt the police and press his perverted game of cat and mouse. In these 3 decades, the police could not do anything but wait for the next victim. He was an absolute animal. Dennis Rader was born in Pittsburgh, Wichita, Kansas. The town was also referred to as Cowtown, due to its position on the cattle drives from Texas. Now, the city is mainly named this for better known heritage as Aviation City. This city frequently gets bombarded by tornadoes, but on March 9th, 1945, the city was hit by another catastrophe. On this day, the BTK killer was born. His father had 4 sons. Out of 4, he was the eldest one. His childhood was pretty normal, but his activity was abnormal, just like most serial killers. He used to hang animals in his childhood, and he was thrilled by doing it. He had a fetish by doing this type of perverted activity. He was sexually deviant, according to his teacher. When he was 11 or 12 years old, one of his teachers scolded him. He was angry at this, and later went into the teacher's house and groped with the window and as he saw her. He had an orgasm, voyeurism, sexually deviant, and the feeling of being powerful were the symptoms of his abnormal life. Both of his parents were really nice people. He was very quiet and not into athletic sports. In 1957, he used to go to Zion Lutheran Church. In 1963, he graduated from school. In 1965 to 66 was his university life. He joined the U.S. force in 1966 as a mechanic. Dennis Rader was a college dropout. He switched his jobs between 1971 to 1974. He started a job as an outdoor supplier, and in 1974, he worked from ADT Security Services. When he was in 9th grade, he was having a weird sexual fantasies. He told he knew at that time his future was going to be. He married his wife Paula in 1971. He used to portray a family guy in front of his wife, but he was a demon inside. He was very fond of reading detective magazines. These types of magazines are used to show violent activities. They're like torture and bondage. These magazines also taught him to avoid being caught. He studied what the other serial killers used to do and what they wronged. He used to draw very obnoxious drawings. His drawings illustrated the inner sadistic and sexual deviancy. Wichita witnessed its first man-made tornado on 15th of January 1974. Dennis Rader killed 4 members of the same family in Wichita. According to them, police captain in the Wichita Police Department, Richard Leminion, the neighborhood was well established and had a very low crime rate. No one would have thought of that kind of murder in the area. The BTK killer went in the back door of the house and cut the phone wire. Inside the house, detectives would be presented with a scene that they would never forget. They had a mother and a father and 2 children that were killed in a ritual-type process. The family would just moved into the area. BTK strangled both the father, Joe, and his wife, Julia. He then moved on to Joey, 9 years old. He put a bag over Joey's head and suffocated him to death. He then took Josephine, an 11-year-old girl. He took her to the basement to hang her. The Oterio family was his first target. In his trial, he told the judge that it was his sexual fantasy. He left semen in the spot according to experts. It was sexually motivated. Initial contact that made him murder the 4 of the Otero members. He told in the courtroom that he had to kill Mr. Joe because he had no mask on, and later would be traced down. After the Otero family killing, Dennis Rader was looking for his next target. Just after 79 days from his first murders, he struck again. His next victim was Catherine Bright, a 21-year-old woman He was spying on her and went to her home. Kathy was coming home from her university when she came to the home. She saw BTK was already there expecting her. But along with her, her brother Kevin also came. BTK did not anticipate that. BTK tied both of them up, and somehow Kevin got loose and got up. When Kevin started yelling, he shot him right in the head. Then he stabbed Kathy to death. But somehow Kevin escaped after the shot in the head. But due to the head injury, he could not give anything important to the police except BTK's height, age, and skin color. In 1977, he killed another woman. The victim's name was Shirley Van, a single mother with 3 children. The 3 children somehow escaped from him, but he killed Shirley. He tied her up and then put a bag over her head, strangled her. The children could not give much information to the police, as the murder was 3 years later, so the police could not connect the murder with BTK killer. After 9 months from Shirley Van's killing, he struck again. This time he killed 25-year-old Nancy Fox, a young woman. He went to the back of her house and he cut the phone line. And then when he was sitting in the house, he was waiting for the victim. Nancy came home without unaware of him, and he tied her in the legs. And he handcuffed her hands, then he strangulated her with a belt. In 1985, he killed his neighbors, a 53-year-old woman named Maureen Hedge. He took pictures after killing her. He wanted to play with her dead body. After 9 days of Maureen's death, her body was discovered. This time the police also failed to connect the murder. They're doing a great job, aren't they? In 1986, he killed Vicky Waggerly. After 4 years, in 1991, the BTA killer killed his final victim. This time, 62-year-old Dolores Davis. It's a lot of people. A lot of people. Most of his murders were initiated by sexual fantasy. But one of the weirdest things about him was that he portraited the crime scene and took pictures of the scene. He was a Boy Scout leader. He would leave the campsite where the Boy Scouts were and dig graves. In the grave, he used to be there with a mask on and put himself with women's undergarments. Then he attached the camera to the cord and would take pictures of him. He took souvenirs and trophies from different crime scenes. He then took all of these in his backyard, and he also had self-created pornography there. He used to satisfy himself with these photos. He told Steve Osborne, the then defense attorney, in a manner as if it was normal. Dennis Rader was a Park City compliance officer that gave him authority in society. He used to write tickets for silly things. If the matter goes on court, he spent hours proving himself right. He prepared as if he was a capital punishment case. The BTK introduces himself to the police in 1974. At the time, 3 people were allegedly confessed to the Otero family killing. He could not stand this, so he wrote to the police telling them that they had the wrong people in custody, and told them that he will kill more people using his code name, bind them, torture them, kill them. After killing Nancy, he again told the police. This time he called and pointed to the location where he had killed her in 1978. He again mailed the police about Shirley Van after not getting that much attention from the police. He went for the TV to gain publicity. He wrote a message to the locally based TV channel named KAKE. This message terrorized the whole community as well as the country at the time. In 2004, after 30 years from his first murder, he wanted to resurface again. He used to hide the victim's belongings and kept them somewhere in the city, and then informed the media all of these were gaining him publicity, which he wanted. But he was not good with technology. He sends the police a disc where he gave some clues. Forensics computer crime units traced the disc and deciphered all the information of Dennis Rader. In February of 2005, Dennis Rader was arrested. He confessed to monstrous work and killing. He was charged with 10 murders, and he received life terms in prison for all 10. A total term for this punishment is 175 plus years, without any possibility of getting parole. According to his friends and classmates, Dennis Rader was pretty normal. He was a family man. His wife Paula never suspected him. He was normal in public. He has 2 children. BTK Killer's daughters named are Carrie Rosen and his son's name is Brian. After the news of his arrest, his wife Paula divorced him, filing an emergency divorce. She never attended the hearing or visited Rader. She is alive and she has never given any public statement. So, that was a pretty, you could probably tell a couple times that kind of got to me because, the police are out here arresting anybody for anything nowadays, but whenever they're dealing with a guy that went from 1966 or 1970 something, 1974, all the way to 2005 without getting arrested, and they didn't link the cases together, even though there's literally a pattern throughout the whole story. If you go back, everybody's getting strangled or a bag put over their head and stabbed, killed. It's literally the same exact thing, same motive. It's all women too, except for the 2 kids. I don't understand why the police were slacking so much back then and they still slack to this day. But either way, we're not going to bash police here. It's just, it blows my mind that, just some of the stuff that they do to people that are insignificant compared to this. But either way, let me know what you think, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Took me a while to come up with all this information, so please just subscribe, like the video, and I'll bring you another one here soon. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody.